All right, so we're in the era of artificial intelligence. We have large language models which allow us to interface with our machines through the use of the spoken word, the written word. Very powerful because we have so much existing knowledge and existing expertise documented using our language. And um, what we're doing now as a species is we're learning how to build a scaffolding which will allow the artificial intelligence to generate, to do generative work that is valuable. And the quality of the work done by the artificial intelligence will depend upon the quality of the expertise which is made available to a large language model. Sometimes that expertise is embedded within the large language model, and sometimes, actually, it's just there are some kinds of expertise embedded with certain quality within the large language model, and then we augment that large language model with things like books or documents or databases, and then you know there will be a capacity for this artificial intelligence to succeed, to do amazing things. And so, for example, I'm an expert at catching fish at a certain place at a certain time with a certain degree of skill, and there should be a way for me to document my expertise such that an artificial intelligence would be able to fish at least as well as I can, and probably even better by leveraging the expertise I have and iterating upon it and doing learning activities and through experimentation and trial and error, I'm improving upon that expertise. And so, it excites me because never before in history has expertise been so important. So, within every organization which has ever existed, people can bullshit. People can, through, Ash conformity, it was proven that people will tell lies even when they know the truth because of irrationalities and it'll be part of human nature to lie under certain conditions, knowingly lie under certain conditions. And so that humans have been believing lies and telling lies forever. And that really that creates a blocker in humanity's ability to identify expertise and leverage it. There's also things like the Peter Principle, where people rise into a position of power and influence in which they are no longer competent. And there's reasons for this, all connected to human nature. And ultimately connected to, I would say, some deep psychological factors, like an immature identity, for example. Within every organization, at this time, within every organization doing work, for every person doing work, there is now good reason for us to attempt to document our expertise in a way which is consumable for artificial intelligence. And so every person with every person's relative amount of expertise is now valuable. Whereas prior to the age of artificial intelligence, many of us could attempt to share our expertise, and it would get ignored. In this new era, we can embed our expertise within systems leveraged by artificial intelligence in order to do work at scale. And so I like to think about systems that are coming online in terms of how many words per minute can they produce. And, for me, I can produce anywhere between 60 to 70, less than 80 words per minute through keyboard interface. But these systems that are using large language models are able to produce words per minute on orders of magnitude higher. And if I can embed my expertise with regard to software engineering expertise in such a way that an artificial intelligence can leverage it successfully to accomplish goals, then I can basically create a force multiplier, and there could even be the opportunity for these things to have more expertise than I have. And so, on my own personal projects, I've been spending a lot of time just working with artificial intelligence in order to create documentation about my expertise. I think I should be trying to share it on GitHub publicly and invite others to iterate as well. And so the way I'm thinking about doing this is that there are domains of expertise, and I have relative amounts of expertise within domains, across domains. And then once I embed it into these files that are version controlled and stored in GitHub, there can be tests that prove the level of expertise within a domain. And then we can crowdsource among experts the process by which we do pull requests to make changes to the collection of expertise across domains, and prove and participate in the curation of expertise. And so each of us has something to offer. At least we are experts about ourselves, and I think that's important knowledge too. Like, who are you? And so when I did this activity at work, I included within it some things about my own strengths and weaknesses, such that an artificial intelligence could be able to inform me about things that would be relevant to me, and an artificial intelligence could help in deciding, what meetings should take place and who should be invited to those meetings, right? And so we have the potential to be experts about ourselves, and then there are even, expertise about how you would weight everybody's relative expertise, strengths and weaknesses. For example, within an organization, because of Ash conformity, there could be anonymous voting with regard to people's relative strengths and weaknesses that feed into a system that leverages this repository of expertise in order to do good work. And so the organizations that succeed will be the ones who are best able to document and iterate upon their collection of expertise. And so I'm very interested in this activity. I don't have it all figured out. I have a relative amount of expertise, which might be very small, but hopefully will grow, and others can contribute towards it. And it's exciting. It's exciting because I wrote about the human resource problem years ago. I had hoped that artificial intelligence would help to identify expertise and experts and guide humanity. But it may be the case, at least it is now, that people can participate in such a way that they contribute their relative levels of expertise into a repository that is attempting to become more objective and is able to be more successful. Now, successful is dependent upon goals. So, this is the thing, is like, well, morality. Who should How should this expertise be leveraged? Because it's just a tool. You can leverage expertise towards any goals, including goals that seem terribly immoral, or extremely moral. And so my hope would be that these this repository of expertise would be leveraged for good work. And ultimately, I think people who participate in this way, actually, I've written about and thought about the mind reading instrument. Um, Basically, your willingness to see your own shortcomings, your own strengths and weaknesses objectively, and then share those in a transparent way is gonna reveal something about your character, and a question about like what are you aiming for and what is your identity, right? And so if your identity lie is an interesting word, but if your identity is based in like materialism and power and wealth and status, then you are going to have an incentive to keep secrets so that you don't share objectively your weaknesses, which we all have. And so it speaks to your character to be willing to share your strengths and weaknesses and to know your strengths and weaknesses objectively. And so I imagine that the people who participate in this are people who are oriented in the right direction, at least. We're all imperfect. None of us are perfect. But we can at least be oriented in the right direction. And for me, that means, care for all people, that we value all people, including the unborn people of the future, and that we care about the future. And because we see things realistically and we know we're not perfect, we know that, over time that we will grow and learn and transform. Hopefully that's what we want, because we want to increase our capacity to be of service for all. And so, participating in this activity of growing a domain of expertise in the public realm and in the private realm within other organizations is important. And the people who do it best will be the ones who end up having the most success. And so, for example, you could imagine that the Republican Party might want to have their own repository of expertise, and the Democratic Party in the United States might have their own repository of expertise. And then, what comes out of that could be that you have an artificial intelligence that, and within one domain, is able to cure cancer, and within another domain is able to alleviate your symptoms and provide you medicine such that you have cancer for some number of years and eventually die from cancer. And so you can end up with different organizations of people who have their own repository of expertise, which can be used with different amounts of success towards different aims and goals. And so I wouldn't expect us to try and aim for a universal repository of expertise. I actually think we should be very careful about the people who participate in that aggregation and growing and transforming of that expertise. And so you could look at, for example, software engineering companies around the world participating and maintaining their own repositories of expertise and then integrating with others that might be public or part of some shared network. And then the ones who do it best will have the most success. I mean, it basically means, there's a dream of my children being able to go to a system, do an interview, and then essentially the software company, leveraging all of its expertise, is able to automatically build and maintain software which serves as a source of income and a business for my children. Like, could you imagine? I can imagine my 5-year-old starting a business because expertise is organized properly and can be leveraged by our artificial intelligence. So I'm looking forward to this future, a future where we actually care about expertise, and the outcomes will depend on how well people are able to curate expertise. So what's cool is we don't have to trust these giant mega corporations who are offering up large language models. There's even open source ones, but these language models, they're just kind of a interoperability layer, and they're not being controlled, and so there's an opportunity for each person and each organization to curate their repository of expertise and then make use of large language models in order to automatically generate things of quality based on the amount of the quality of the expertise that's been documented. And I know, these big players want to curate their own repositories of expertise so that they can just kind of offer it up to everyone in a way which is as simple and easy as possible. But I want to also offer up a different vision where each of us can participate as well. So if you're interested in this, if you understand what I'm talking about, get in touch. Let me know what you think. I appreciate the feedback. And, shoot me an email. All right. Bye-bye.